Hello. Alright, now welcome to the cashier section. Now for the cashier, the job description is in 4 places. The cashier has a privilege of making payments associated with invoices. So that means that when the sales personnel raises an invoice, the cashier collects payments for such invoices and issues receipts. The cashier also receives payments even if it's not associated with an invoice, and that simply means, for example, a customer can just walk in and decide to deposit into his or her account to come later to pick up the goods, to be raised and to raise an invoice, order the products, and then come to collect the goods. So the cashier receives such payments where the customer just walks in to just pays and leaves without actually buying anything, or maybe the customer just walked in to offset, all right, a debt that he or she is previously owing the company. All right, so the cashier also collects such payments and registers them on the system. Now the cashier also creates or rather manages the job's expenses. So when there is an expense in the company, say for example there's you have to pay give out money for food, you have to give out money for any job at all, fuel, oil, whatever, maintenance or whatever, okay, that has been approved. Of course the cashier can register such expenses, and where it doesn't exist, where such jobs don't exist, we also give the cashier the privilege to be able to create such jobs and register the expense under them, all right, for clarity and accountability purposes. And now finally, because I said 4 functionalities, finally the cashier rather has a privilege of viewing every payment that has been made. So that means every payment that has been, whether associated with invoice or no invoice, as long as it's a payment that has been made, right, the cashier has a privilege of viewing it. So to log into the admin panel, I simply supply my login details here and click on the sign in to get logged into my dashboard. Now taking a look at the menu I have here, I have a customers. I can view the customers record as a cashier, but then the main menu here, you can see the receiving invoice payments, the receive payments, that is when it's not even associated with an invoice, for example to offset a debt or to just make a deposit into the customer's account. All right, the cashier can also do this. Now this is to view payment records, so you can actually view payment records as a cashier, and then you can actually view an account expense or register an account expense. Now this simply means where you want to move a fund from one account to another. That's why it's accounts expenses. A practical example is where you've been receiving lots of cash in the office, and it gets to the point where you want to go and lodge it into another account associated with the company. Okay, so you're moving from the cash record to the bank record, and after doing that is where you register such expense. We'll call it an accounts expense. And then this is a section where you can either create a job or register a job. You can view the job ledger here. Right, now this is the job ledger, and you can create a new job. So this is jobs accounts for jobs that are not here. Right, you can see there's a category here, there's a main category here, there's a feeding category. But let's say for example there is a need for maintenance or oil change or whatever category, and that expense or that transaction needs to be recorded, but it's not here. Right, now the cashier can also click on job accounts and have the privilege of creating such category or such job. Right, so what you do is you simply give it a name. Now let me call this one a particular vehicle number. So let me call it maybe EX3D this YYY fuel. All right, okay, but I need to register it under a particular category, but the category is not here because what I have is mains and feeding. So to do that, where I want to create a category and then add all of these under that category, what I simply do is I first create the main category. So let me call this rather fuel. It's going to be maybe a yearly thing, a budget 60,000, based on whatever the company decide the budgeting for fuel should be yearly. Okay, so this helps curtail expenses, and I have to register it under a main account because I want it to be a main category. So I register it under a main account. So I can give a description here, and I create the job category. Now this has been created as fuel now. So if I want to create the cars, the one I was trying to register, EX maybe 123 YYY, this is a vehicle, and I want to register it as a this fuel job, right? I then add it under, you see the fuel is now added here. I then add it under the fuel category. So this is a subcategory. The parent category is fuel, and this is the child category, like we call it. And for this particular vehicle, we can also say we want it to be spending 30,000 naira every month on fuel. All right, so from general fuel category, this is what we are assigning to this particular vehicle on fuel only, and this is a job. We add the category. All right, now that's done, and you can see this now. So if there's a job expense that I want to handle, say for example, I want to move money from the cash account rather to this particular vehicle, I have to click on add a new job. All right, now you can see that the category, or rather the subcategory we created, is already here. So say for example, the account here simply shows the accounts where the fund will be moving out from. So it may be a transfer from this bank, or it may be a cash, okay, that I'm having as like a cashier to send from this person. Now here is going to be the name of the person you're giving it to, that's the individual collecting the cash, and then the category is going to be specified here. All right, so it's either a general thing under fuel or to a particular vehicle for fuel. So if it's not here, you simply head back, and the same way we created is you create for oil or whatever, or that job that's not in this category. Now the amount, let's say for example, we're giving this guy 1,000 naira for fuel. Okay, so the date today, the time right now, and under description we can put a note to help us, whatever you want to put under description. I'm sure you're already used to this, but in this I'll just say authorized by chairman via phone call. All right, then add job, and the job is added. Okay, so this also gets sent to the chairman to see the ones he actually, because even though you enter that it's approved by chairman here, this pending here, okay, in the main application you may not see this because this is just for demonstration purposes, but when you start using it you may not see this. So this will only be seen by the administrator to be able to approve this expenditure, because okay, you say for example it was approved by the chairman now, and whoever is the admin in charge will need to confirm this and approve it. All right, now that doesn't stop this expenditure from going through. It can still go through. So however the company, the organization choose to verify this and then approve it. So here you can actually see a total of every job that's been raised for this particular month. You can see the total, the amount that was approved. Once it gets approved, it comes here. If it's rejected, it comes here. And then pending simply shows this is still pending here. So this is how to raise a job, or how to register a job. And of course this whole expenditure gets sent to the general ledger, where the accountant does the checks and balances of everything that goes in. So that's all about the job section of the cashier's record. Now for the receiving an invoice payment, you simply click on invoice payment to see every payment that has been generated. All right, so here see customer's invoice, and it's not paid. All right, and it's an invoice of 3,216 naira, 3,620 naira rather. So I simply click on here, you can see pay, and the receipt automatically gets generated, so you don't need to input anything on here on the receipt. The invoice ID also shows immediately, the customer's name, the customer's phone number, the amount the customer is paying. So let's assume the customer is paying everything. Now we're saying 3620, and the account that was paid to, of course, if it was a bank transfer, you confirm from the accountants. However, it's being done in the company, and then you select which account was paid for. If it's cash, of course, you simply select cash, and then the date of the transaction. If it's today, you simply select today. If it's maybe a transaction that was done during maybe on Saturday after work, the payment was made, and then you're registering it on Monday, you select the payment to be that particular date to reflect the date the transaction was made. But let's assume it's today, and then a description for this transaction, and save payment, and it generates a receipt for this payment. Of course, this receipt has to be taken to the sales section, that's the people that raises this invoice, to be able to complete this customer's transaction. All right, so it has the invoice ID just so it can be pulled up from the system and be registered, the amount paid, the channel of payments, and the customer's name. All right, so that is it with payments and receiving payment for invoices. As you can see, I just refreshed it, and this shows that this invoice with ID has been paid for. All right, and of course this reflects on this customer's ledger, right? The customer's ledger. And in a situation where it's not an invoice, it's not the customer's invoice, it's just that the customer just walked in and wants to just make a payment, maybe offset a debt or make an initial deposit into his account, you simply click on receive payment. So this shows the name of the customer, and if the customer's name is not here, say this shows just the 30 recent customer records. So you can simply sort it out by making a search for the person's name, and it gets displayed here. So just sort this whole thing out. So if I want to work with Jerry, for example, I'm looking for John Terry rather, simply enter a John, and it shows the customer's name here. So say we wanted to collect, Jerry just came to make a deposit into his account. All right, it's now receiving payment under John. What we do is simply just click on this middle button here that says receive payment. Okay, and of course everything gets automatically generated. The invoice says none because we're not paying for any invoice here. The receipt number gets automatically generated, the phone number, and Jerry's name. Now you can see under here that we have revenue. That's how much Jerry has paid so far. It's 0. Let me just close this. That it's 0 here, and his credit limit is 500. Now any payment that comes into this account number, even though it registers under the customer ledger, still gets added up here. All right, so this way we know how much in total this particular customer has paid into our company. So clicking back on this to continue from where I left off. Let's say Jerry wanted to just deposit say 3,000 naira, all right, for a good maybe he or she wants to purchase or to offset a debt that is already on the system. I click here under the transaction date, and I select the date of the transaction. All right, this is made so that it will be very easy to note the particular day the payment was made. And if it's today, you simply just click on today, and it just selects today's date then. So having fulfilled this, I click on add payments, and Jerry is paying in 3,000 naira rather. A receipt gets generated, which you can print here, and you can always preview here. So I'll cancel that for now, and you can see under revenue, a payment of 3,000 naira have been registered under this customer's account. And if I want to view the profile, the ledger, customer ledger for this particular customer, I simply click on this book icon here that says view ledger, and every payment, the ledger of the customer gets generated. You can see the debit of a sale journal that was made under this account, and a credit, okay, and another credit that was made. That's the one that we just did now, and it comes with the receipts numbers, all right, and account, the account the payment was made to. Okay, so that is it about receiving a payment, all right. And then the account expense. Now let's say for example you want to move money from a particular account to another, for whatever reason. Okay, you want to move from a bank account to a cash account, maybe because of a withdrawal, or from a cash account to a bank account, or vice versa, or in any way. Okay, this is where the account register is done. Okay, for cash lodgements or whatever, account to account operations that are being done in the company. So you do this, and you select the category where it falls under. Okay, you can also create a category here called maybe cash lodgements or whatever. Remember, you can do that under the jobs, and you select that the amount that was moved. In this case, let me just, you can input or you select, let me just say 300,000 was paid in, and the time of the payments and the dates. Of course, you fulfill this, and then you enter a description, done by XYZ, whatever the description that's going to suit this transaction well. All right, and then I click on add expense to simply add it to the system. And of course, this has to appear under the general ledger and whatever accounting ledger, all right, that shows these transactions. So that is it for the cashier. We took a dive, that was a brief summary into what we did under the cashier accounts. We did account creation of a job, and we viewed the ledger, job ledger, that's every job that's been generated under this particular account. Now take note that every transaction you made, the system automatically registers your name against whatever transaction, and also keep a comprehensive log for the administrator. Now we also did invoice payments. A quick recap, we received payments for depositing and offsetting bills, and we did account expenses where we need to move funds from one account to the other. And of course, for all of this, the whole payment record, this shows a comprehensive payment record for everything that we've done as a cashier, okay, under this account, with the names and the time. All right, now this is generated by the system, the name and the time. So even if you selected that a particular transaction was made in a particular date, it shows under the customer's ledger account, but the time when you recorded this is generated by the system. So that is it about a cashier record. Now you go through it, and if there's questions or wherever you seem confused, you can easily let us know. So, or features you think are missing on the application, you can also let us know, so that we'll be able to fix these things before the final deployment of the system. So thank you very much, and do have a great day.